Welcome to Budgeting Module 2, How to Start Budgeting. Before you start budgeting, you'll need to know how much money you have already and how much you're currently making. This information will give you a starting point for how much you can afford to spend within a given time period. Next, you need to account for your monthly recurring expenses like rent or mortgage, utilities, car or loan payments, and other expenses. If you aren't sure what or how much your periodic payments are, look at your bank statements for the past few months. Once you've subtracted your recurring expenses from the amount of money you currently have, you'll know how much disposable income you have left to spend on other things like groceries, leisure activities, and other goods. The next step is to make a list of your needs and wants for the upcoming month. It is very important to be honest and realistic during this step because it will make your budgeting plan more accurate and easier to follow. If you are finding it difficult to distinguish a want from a need, you can ask yourself if it is absolutely necessary for sustaining yourself over the next budget period. For example, food is a necessity that you must prioritize in your budget. A new television or a vacation, however, would be considered a want. Monthly recurring expenses are included in needs. But since some costs for needs can vary, it is easier to split them into two lists at first. To estimate the cost of your irregular monthly needs, take a look at your bank statement for the past few months and average the cost of each item. If your spending habits for a particular need like groceries are very irregular, it is best to budget for the maximum amount that you could spend. It is always better to over-budget than to under-budget because it makes your plan easier to abide by and any leftover money can be saved or used for wants. Once you have the costs of all of your needs, you can add them up to come up with an estimated total. By now, you should have a list and a total for your monthly wants and needs. The next step is to compare these numbers with your monthly income to find out how much of your paycheck is currently being allocated to each area. After doing this, you may realize that your spending habits need to be reevaluated. If so, a simple concept to consider is the 50-30-20 rule. This rule states that 50% of your income should go towards needs, 30% towards wants, and 20% towards savings and debt repayment. But what if you find that your needs make up for more than 50% of your income? In this case, you can follow a similar framework as the 50-30-20 rule, but the main idea is to cover all of your needs while still leaving some money for wants and savings, even if it's just a little. If this option isn't feasible, you may need to reevaluate your needs and see if there are any costs that could be lowered. For example, being more vigilant about utility costs or carpooling to school or work. That being said, most troubles with following budgeting ratios can be solved by cutting back on how much you spend on wants. In conclusion, remember to be honest and realistic when determining your wants and needs. It is always better to over-budget than to under-budget. And the goal is to cover all of your needs while still leaving some money for wants and savings.